All right. We are back, ladies and gentlemen. We got a show tonight. It is becoming hotter, more contested, more agile, more rhetoric, more all kinds of things that just disturb white folks and make them uneasy, to make them feel less than, that makes them feel as if they'll never be able to do anything ever again. And that's cool, because that is exactly what is going on. And I can tell you right now that Africa is rising. There is no stopping. There's no matter how much these sellout niggas are selling out to the white boy and white girl for whatever crumbs they can get. It's over for them. It's been over. It was over when they first started because you know what? Evil will always destroy itself in the end, and those who partake in it. Always, ALWAYS, and always, ALLWAYS. It doesn't fail. It doesn't do any good to participate in it because karma is a bitch. Or karma can be a blessing. And this is what white folks seem to don't understand. Not seem to don't understand, they don't understand. They painted themselves into a corner, and I can tell you from this day forward, white folks' mind in this present moment and in the future will never know a day of rest, mentally speaking, and in their hearts shall run with fear all the days of their lives. You cannot mistreat God's children, God's people. It doesn't work that way. Black people are the black universe filtered down in human form. We are the end and the beginning and the end, the alpha and the omega and alpha. The world cannot exist without being on this motherfucker. It will continue to exist if white folks ain't on it because fuck them. They're not doing a damn thing other than all of the videos that I have posted, that I have done to show that these so-called white people have never created one civilization or one world religion. The only thing that they brought to the table of humanity are the 4 Ds: death, destruction, disease, and despair. So tonight, we're going to really get into the heart and soul of our people and what is going on the continent of Africa that cannot be stopped. They can try to stop it, they can pray to stop it, they can stay to stop it, they can do whatever the fuck they want to do. But white boy, it's over. You done had it in your hand for at least 200 years, and some may say 400 years. And you fucked it all up because you are a fucking asshole. The world don't fucking need you, bitch. None of you motherfuckers are no good. I don't give a fuck how good you might sound, how good you might be. All that goodness don't mean a motherfucking thing because none of you good motherfuckers are going in to arrest and even kill for the greater good of humanity. You motherfuckers are the very you motherfuckers are the very reason why we are in this shape, are in this state of existence. It's because you are some ignorant motherfuckers. Have no recourse. You have no gumption. You have no nothing that the world can say, we need them. You're dying and Trump can't help you. And good riddance, motherfucker. Good fucking riddance. There's absolutely nothing that the world wants from your funky, shitty asses. You don't take baths. You don't do anything productive. The only thing you do is kill. The only thing you do is kill. And I don't have to prove that. That's evident in all you have done. And all the seeds of hate that you have brought out with the advent and the death of Charlie Kirk, that bitch, have brought about his own demise. You can't keep saying this, that, and the other about someone else, and it's not true. It is true about you. It is true about Charlie Kirk and his funky ass wife, Erica. All these motherfuckers just think they can do what they want to do, say what they want to say, and it's all good. But no, it doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way, babe. You must always pay the price, good or bad. And in this case, it is bad. There is no saving white folks. You're going to have to run through it, go through it, get through it, however you want to get through it. But you're not going to ever get through it because you don't have the capacity, spiritual, mental, emotional, and physical capacity to endure it, endure what my people have been through. Your birth rate is less than 1, and to maintain a birth rate, you need at least 2. Your birth rate is about 0.06. You ain't gonna make it. You ain't gonna make it, white boy. The universe, the earth, everything is against you. Nothing is for you. The world hates your motherfucking guts. But love the black man and woman, because you know what? We are the very essence of God on the planet. We are the very essence of justice, righteousness, and truth, knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. What you guys are about is really simple. Bullshit. Nothing but bullshit. Playing the Wizard of Oz game, blowing smoke up everybody's ass, and thinking that you're going to get away with something. You're not getting away with anything. It doesn't work that way. And now, the time has come. The final curtain. The end is near. Well, the end is here, motherfucker. And there ain't shit that you can do to get your ass up out of it. Nothing. We are going to get our reparations over, I'm going to say, minimally, just to start. Minimally, $200 trillion out that ass. Africa is united now. You cannot stop that. AfroGold is the payment system. You cannot stop that. AfroNet is the #1 internet in the world. You cannot stop that. The unification of Africa and how you, in terms of America and Europe and whoever else, trying to pay off president to go against the system that is online now. It's not like in February 26th. It is happening. It is online now. It is active. They're just telling you that bullshit. It is active. And all we are doing and everything that you have done, America, Europe, and whoever else that might be against Africa, is having more and more and more proof for lawsuit. The AU is the new NATO, motherfuckers. NATO lost a warship. It is resting comfortably at the bottom of the ocean with its dead. So no, you can't do anything against black people, Africa, the AU, AfroGo, AfriNet, and whatever else that might come down the pipe. It's over. Afro territories, all of the oceans and seas, motherfucker. We got this locked, on lock, and there's nothing that you can do about it. Nothing. Europe is starving, and very well, and I'm very pleased to announce that there's no food. Africa is not feeding you motherfuckers no more. We're tired of your bullshit. Blowing smoke up everybody's ass. We know the deal. We know the drill. We know how this shit gonna get played out. We ain't dumb, stupid. But you are the dumb ones and you are the stupid ones. I'm here to tell you, it's over. Lock it up. Close the windows. And throw away the key. Because your business is out of business. Africa will be feeding the world. But none of you white motherfuckers know. You're just going to have to starve. The same way you did us, we're going to do you. There's no love lost. None. At all. None. At all. And the way in which it is going right now, you guys are losing your mind as it is. So I'm here to tell you, and as you see these videos, because I'm not going to be on here for long. It's going to be real short because I got some things to show you guys. Now, if you have not been following me and looking at the videos that I've done, please go back and look at them because I love SABN, Supreme African Business News. I think that's it, Supreme African, something like that. But you're going to see the name of it. Sometimes I forget, sometimes I remember. But tonight is going to be one. So let's get into the share screen, and I'll be on point to start. And we will get it right. So the first one is this lady that I really appreciate, her and her husband. America, stop pretending. You don't know what the hell you've done to black people in this country and around the world, may I add. We'll be right back. It's only 5 minutes, less than that.
A prophetic lament to America. Stop pretending, America. The blood cries out from your soil. From the cotton fields to the concrete jungles, from the auction blocks to the prison blocks. The voices of the oppressed rise like incense, pungent with grief, fury, and truth. Stop pretending you don't know what the hell is going on and why black people in this nation are embittered, exhausted, and enraged. Stop pretending you don't understand the betrayal etched into every generation's bones. You know, you've always known. You wrote the script. The roots of rage. You stole bodies and broke spirits. You built your wealth on backs whipped raw, on families torn apart, on sacred names erased and replaced with slave tax. You baptized your economy in black blood and called it divine providence. You declared liberty while chaining men, women, and children. You sang hymns while selling souls, and when slavery ended, you didn't repent. You rebranded. Jim Crow replaced shackles with laws. Redlining replaced plantations with ghettos. Mass incarceration replaced slave patrols with police departments. Voter suppression replaced literacy tests with ID laws and closed polling stations. Medical neglect replaced experimentation with systemic disregard. Tuskegee still echoes. Economic exclusion replaced sharecropping with wage theft and glass ceilings. You know this. You documented it. You legislated it. You televised it. The hypocrisy is loud. You say justice for all while kneeling on necks. You say law and order while your own hands drip with disorder. You say equality while stacking the deck, rigging the game, and blaming the players you've maimed. You say we've come so far while black children still die in classrooms, on sidewalks, in traffic stops, in their own beds. You say get over it while erecting monuments to traitors and rewriting history to soothe your conscience. You say we're all one race while clutching your purse, locking your doors, and calling the cops on black existence. You say we're colorblind while painting every institution with the same shade of exclusion. The system is not broken. It was built this way. Black people are not paranoid. They are perceptive. They are not angry without cause. They are prophets in the wilderness. They are not untrusting of the system because of emotion. They are untrusting because of evidence. Police brutality is not a glitch. It's a feature. Disparities in sentencing are not anomalies. They are algorithms of oppression. School-to-prison pipelines are not accidents. They are engineered futures. Environmental racism is not unfortunate. It's deliberate zoning. Media demonization is not oversight. It's narrative control. You know this. You profit from this. You protect this. The prophetic cry, America. Your prophets have spoken. Frederick Douglass thundered truth to power. Ida B. Wells exposed your lynching lust. James Baldwin dissected your soul. Fannie Lou Hamer bled for the ballot. Malcolm X called out your hypocrisy. Martin Luther King Jr. warned of your moral decay. Angela Davis, Cornel West, Ta-Nehisi Coates, and countless others still cry aloud. But you plug your ears with patriotism and whitewash their words into palatable quotes. You don't want truth. You want comfort. You don't want justice. You want silence. You don't want healing. You want forgetting. The walls are cracking, America. The reckoning is not coming. It is here. Your institutions are trembling. Your myths are unraveling. Your facade is fading. The question is not whether black people will rise. They already have. The question is whether you will repent, whether you will dismantle what you built, whether you will stop pretending. So hear this, America. The blood cries out, the prophets cry out, the people cry out, and heaven hears. Stop pretending. Start repenting. Or be exposed and judged by the mighty hand of Yah, the one who the world calls God.
Powerful. Short, but powerful. So, before I leave and go on, I wanted to make it clear. There's no saving evil. It has a way of slipping into your mind and the crevices of your heart and soul, making it look like it's the right thing to do. And that you have millions of other people doing and saying the same thing. The woe be unto your behind part, that when you begin to listen and to see everybody else doing the same thing, it doesn't mean it's right. It doesn't mean it's right. It doesn't mean it's right. You have to be a man or woman of character, of integrity, of forthrightness, of knowledge, wisdom, and understanding, because if you were a man or woman or people like that, this would have stopped a long time ago, and reparation would have been paid a long time ago. But no, it got too good to you. You got full of your own oats. You got too full of pride covering your heart and soul and eyes. And the Bible said, I'm not a Bible person per se. I'm a Jew. I believe in the Torah. But the idea is still the same. Pride comes before the fall. And white folk can't see that. They're too stupid to see it. They don't want to see it. They can't see it. They can't see it. So with that being said, allow me to go into the next one. And I hope I played the last one.
While Captain Ibrahim Traore is busy securing Burkina Faso's borders and building strategic business ties with other nations, Nigeria finds itself trapped in a structure that simply cannot make it powerful.
Now, you see that nigga with the, I don't know what you call it, but shaking hands with Macron? He just now got back in bed with France. We can't deal with niggas like this, traitors. And according to what I know about the AU Supreme Court, this motherfucker is going to be arrested. He's going to lose everything he got and going to be set on trial for treason. You know what the fallout or penalty of treason is? Death. And that'll be right and up the alley and the right thing to do. Fuck him.
Welcome to AfriPlus News Channel, your trusted platform for deep and fearless analysis of Africa's political and geopolitical realities. Today's revelation is one of the most shocking allegations to emerge in Nigeria's recent history, and if true, it would represent a turning point not only for Nigeria but for the entire West African region. Reports are surfacing that Nigerian President Bola Ahmed...
Hold on, let me see. It's not showing up. Okay. All right, so I think I just have to keep this here because it's a little bit different than what I'd done before. Hold on. Ah, boy. Okay. So, got that on that, and I was showing. Okay. All right. We'll continue going.
Tinubu has allegedly sold off parts of Maiduguri to France, granting them access to uranium mining rights and even space to establish a military base intended to target Niger Republic. This is no ordinary claim, and it raises serious questions about sovereignty, security, and the sacrifices ordinary Nigerians are being forced to endure.
No podía creer que me había perdido estos tenis a 150 pesos. Ahora, hacer
Before we dive deeper, remember to like this video, share it widely, and subscribe to AfriPlus News Channel for more critical updates like this one. Your engagement helps us expose the issues that others shy away from. If France has allegedly been given access to Maiduguri to freely mine uranium, then the fundamental question is, who truly owns Nigeria's natural resources? The Nigerian people or foreign powers?
Nigeria and Niger might be having a full-blown fight soon. In fact, they are gradually becoming enemies. And it will not be Niger's fault. It will be Nigeria's fault. Let me explain. Now, let me take your mind back to August. Remember when Nigerian President Bola Ahmed Tinubu traveled to France because a Chinese company used a court order from France to seize 3 presidential jets belonging to Nigeria. Since then, there's been this romance between Nigeria and France. They've been kind of, new boyfriends and whatever, new boyfriend and girlfriend thing. Not long after that, President Tinubu head to France again to have some diplomatic meeting with France head of states. And not just that again, it's as if President Tinubu emptied Aso Rock, all of them, including Wike and Chief of Staff, and all of them, they head to staff, including Tenerife and all that. They went to sign some kind of agreement they call MOU, Memorandum of Understanding. What they signed there, we did not know. Nigerians don't know. They did not disclose it to us. Remember when they signed that agreement, I came here to tell you guys that Tinubu has gone to sign what we don't know. Then in fact, after signing that agreement, other African countries raised an alarm that how can other African countries be disconnecting themselves from France? And Nigeria, which is the giant of Africa, is going back to connect with them, in fact, bringing them close. The neighboring country to Nigeria, Niger, has raised an alarm that Nigerian government is collaborating with France military to build a camp in Nigeria around Maiduguri. That in fact, that has raised a lot of concern for them and they are not comfortable about it. That Nigerian military is in collaboration with France military to attack some of their infrastructure and all that. So that has really raised a lot of concern. In fact, the Nigerian military head of state did a podcast where he explained this in their language. So the Nigerian military head of state made that allegation and the Nigerian government also denied it, stating that nothing like that happened. With every forensic investigation shows that it seems that the France military now have a base in Nigeria around Maiduguri, which is now a threat to Niger.
My blog post how to write an ebook in 7 steps. I just paste the URL here, click fetch.
Guys, Tinubu government signs peace pact with France to carry out mining projects in Nigeria. So they are giving France now full authority and rights to mine our mineral resources in Nigeria. don't they ask questions before taking a good step or a decision? Let's take, for example, all the countries that were colonized by French or by France. All the countries that were colonized by France. France have full authority over the mineral resources. They're mining them. They have control over the country. What happened now? Haven't you seen that all the French country that was colonized by France have already been sent back in? Senegal, 3 days ago, sent French packing out of their country. They send them, they keep them out of their country. Burkina Faso, we all know that it's all there. You can go and browse it. They send them out of their country. In fact, they first of all removed the full right mining authority from them before sending them out of their country. This one now just happened few months ago. Niger Republic. We all know that one. We all noticed that. We all expressed that one. It's actually a big fight. And now, France did their own. Tinubu and the world they go invite them to take over. Do you think that these people will live without fighting? Whatever, it's obvious that they don't even care, in as much as they have good agreement with them to mine and they share. This is the country, and this is the country we are into right now. It's so shameful that this administration doesn't take any decision that favors the citizens. It's only a decision that favors them and their pockets. Nigeria, Utilo.
Uranium is one of the most strategic resources in the world, powering not only nuclear energy, but also nuclear weapons. If foreign hands are allowed to freely extract it from Nigeria while citizens remain in poverty, what does that say about the value placed on Nigerian lives and futures? How can a government demand sacrifices from its people while allegedly giving away the country's wealth to outsiders? The reports also claim that parts of Maiduguri are now restricted areas where ordinary Nigerian citizens are not allowed to enter, but French operatives are allegedly free to operate and secure the space for uranium mining and military installations.
France and UK are hurting. Burkina Faso, Mali, Niger have kicked them out. So they found a replacement. Our Yoruba Lord Tinubu is the leader who is now selling Nigeria to France. Don't forget, the president of Niger did a video in Hausa where he named, it's one thing to make an accusation, is he named the specific towns, like he go to this town, if you drive to, he named places in Maiduguri state right now that Nigerians cannot go to because the French, Tinubu has given it to France. And if you try to go there, there are bandits who surround the town who will kill you on sight. Their job is to stop anybody from finding out that there's an entire town that bandits in Nigeria have kicked the whole village out, and France is using it as a staging ground to take back Niger.
Hold on.
If true, this represents a staggering violation of Nigeria's sovereignty. Since when does a government bar its own people from their own land while opening the doors to foreigners? And how long before resentment grows into uncontrollable anger among citizens who feel abandoned and betrayed? Should Nigerians be asking themselves whether their own government is protecting them or exploiting them? It is also being alleged that Boko Haram played a role in clearing out communities in these uranium-rich areas. For years, Boko Haram has wreaked havoc on innocent Nigerians, destroying lives and displacing families. But if their presence and violent operations were linked to resource discoveries, then one must ask, was this insurgency ever just about ideology, or was it partly about control of Nigeria's untapped mineral wealth? How much of the so-called war on terror has really been a war over resources, fought on the backs of ordinary citizens?
Breaking news, Boko Haram overrun army base in Borno State as many soldiers fear death. Boko Haram fighters have launched a devastating midnight assault on the 152 Task Force Battalion based in Baki, Bama local government area, leaving many soldiers here dead and forcing others to flee across the border into Cameroon. According to military sources, the insurgents stormed the facility under the heavy fire, overwhelming troops, and setting ablaze armored tanks, trucks, and other military assets. Weapons and ammunition were also seized before the attacker withdrew. Communication with the base has since been cut off, making it difficult to confirm casualty figures. The base played a strategic role in Operation Adika, the Nigerian Army main counter-insurgents campaign in the northeast. It is located near the Cameroon border, making it both better for regional security and highly vulnerable to cross-border raid. This attack marks another major setback in Nigerian fight against Boko Haram, which has waged a brutal insurgency in Borno and surrounding states for more than a decade. Despite repeated claims of progress by the military, the group continued to mount large-scale assaults on both civilian and military targets. As of present, the Nigerian Army have not issued an official statement on the incident. Analysts warn that the loss of the Banki base could embody insurgents and further destabilize community already reeling from years of violence, displacement, and insecurity.
Power, sophistication, and endurance on the way. The Vortex Chrono is the ideal watch for men with personality. With its modern design,
observers note that France has been losing influence across the Sahel, with Burkina Faso, Niger, and Mali rejecting its military presence and reclaiming control of their own resources. If these allegations are accurate, it appears that Nigeria is now handing back to France everything it has lost elsewhere. Should Nigeria be the nation that restores France's fading dominance in Africa at the expense of its own people?
Breaking news. Did you know that Nigeria is France's top trading country? In fact, there's over 100 French companies operating in Nigeria. Now, I'm not saying that that's just bad news, because those 100 companies, they've hired over 14,000 Nigerians. Now, 14,000 Nigerians, they have jobs because of these French companies. But here's the thing, 60% of whatever those French companies make, it goes back to France. Can you believe this? Only Nigeria is only left with 40%, and they're the ones doing the work. France is just waiting for the money. Can you believe this? Now, this news, it doesn't seem to scare the Nigerians or the Nigerian government, because French companies, they just keep popping up everywhere in Nigeria. In fact, there's a 47% increase in French companies in Nigeria. And how do the French feel about this? Well, they are the ones who posted this information I'm telling you right now. The French customs authorities, they are the ones who are announcing this, so they are definitely very happy about these numbers coming from Nigeria. What I wonder is, who's winning in all of this? Because on one side, there's Nigeria. They have 14,000 jobs now because of the French companies. At a time where unemployment is very high, the French companies they've provided are 14,000 jobs. Or is it the French? Are they the ones winning? Because they're getting $6 billion from Nigeria.
And what does this suggest about Nigeria's leadership compared to the bold stances taken by Burkina Faso, Mali, and Niger, who expelled foreign forces despite international pressure? Meanwhile, Nigerians are being asked to pay more taxes, shoulder rising living costs, and endure economic hardship. The government increases burdens on its citizens while allegedly opening doors for foreign powers to profit freely from Nigeria's resources. What kind of justice is that? How do you ask people to sacrifice while secretly giving away what belongs to them? Can a nation truly claim to be independent if its leaders act in ways that undermine the very sovereignty of their state? This entire situation raises painful moral questions. If it is true that entire communities were cleared for uranium exploitation, where is the accountability for those displaced? Where are the voices speaking for families who have lost their homes, their lands, and their livelihoods to serve the interests of outsiders? And how long can a government hide such arrangements before the truth erupts into national outrage?
Hold on.
The deeper issue here is the silence that surrounds these revelations. Why is there little transparency when it comes to natural resource deals? Why do ordinary Nigerians wake up one day to discover that parts of their own land may no longer belong to them? Shouldn't the people who suffer the most also have the right to know, decide, and benefit from what lies beneath their soil? In conclusion, this alleged deal between Nigeria's leadership and France, if it indeed exists, is not just about uranium, Maiduguri, or even Niger. It is about the future of Nigeria's sovereignty, the value of its people, and the dangerous trade-offs being made behind closed doors. The question Nigerians must ask themselves is this: if their own government is willing to allegedly bargain away the country's resources and security, what will be left for future generations? This is a sobering moment, one that demands reflection, dialogue, and accountability. We want to hear your thoughts. Do you believe these allegations hold truth? What do you think about Nigeria's leadership allegedly restoring French power in West Africa, while ordinary Nigerians struggle under increasing taxes and poverty? Drop your comments respectfully below. We value every perspective and want to build a community of engaged, critical thinkers. If you found this analysis valuable, support us by joining our channel membership and consider giving us a super thanks to keep this work alive. And most importantly, do not forget to subscribe and share this video so that more people can become part of this conversation. Disclaimer: the content of this analysis is based on allegations and available reports. AfriPlus News Channel does not confirm or endorse unverified claims. Our aim is to provide balanced analysis and encourage public debate on issues of national and geopolitical significance. Viewers are advised to conduct their own research and draw their own conclusions.
All right. So here we are. Before we move on, I just want to make sure that you guys, as I've always said, that every civilization known to man was created by black people. Not the pale skin that we say or that we call white. They're not white. They're not Anglo-Saxon. They're not Caucasian. They're European. They just bleached out black people have come from Brazilian albino. The absolute worst niggers on the planet. They have stolen your name, your history, your culture, your language, and everything, and turn around and tell you, the mother and father of civilization and humanity, that you ain't shit. Some of us have accepted that as if it was the reality, but the reality of today is that the world is waking up to the reality of who we are. We are the real Jews. We are the real Christian because Christianity started in Africa. The first fathers and mothers that died for that so-called way of life, because it's not a religion, it is a way of life to help you find the way of life. We have multitude of different ways of life, of philosophy, Buddhism, Hinduism, Taoism, you name it. These are all expressions of our ancestors to help you find a way of life for you, not for a whole congregation. It's individually accepted and internalized those principles of virtue, integrity, frugality, resoluteness, kindness. That is what you vibrate on. That is what you connect to. And when you are vibrating at the God level within you, because the kingdom of God is in you, not outside of the motherfucker. In you, black man, in you, black woman. So that way we can, as a unit, come together in a unified way, because that's the blessing. If we are united, there is nothing that can divide. There is nothing that can defeat us. Our blessing is in unification. Our blessing is in unification. Our blessing is in unification. Just that goddamn simple. But when we become divided along bullshit lines, it becomes easy for us to get distracted. But once we heal those divisions and those divisive comments and books and movies and all of this shit, and get to the real deal Holy Spirit of our ancestors, of Ma'at, hold on, there's out of noise, of Ma'at, and what that means, and all of the gods that we so-called adore, not worship, but adore, because they are the reflection of our internal state of mind. You get what I'm saying? Don't make this shit harder than what it is. Our ancestors are looking hard. Our ancestors are looking for us to reconnect, to put that plug back into the wall socket so that we can be all of what they want us to be, more than them. That's it. Stop believing these motherfucking animals that grow tails. They ain't shit. They ain't shit. There's never been shit but shit. And why would a bee of what we are that produces honey and pollinate other species of plants and what have you who enjoy honey, why the fuck would you waste your time trying to talk to a fly that likes to land on shit and eat it? You cannot convince a fly that eating honey is better than shit. It doesn't work that way. It will never work that way. And so as we move forward, I want to make sure that this next one is, tonight is more or less like all of the scheming, conniving motherfucking niggas that's in our crew, so to speak. We gotta ferret these motherfuckers out and get them out because they're not about that black first. They're not. And 9 times out of 10, you're gonna have to kill them. I'm black first, but goddamn, if you are committing treason against your own people, against your own country, against your own continent, against your own freedom, you need to get the fuck off the planet. Just that goddamn simple. And we're gonna see that. In my previous video, there was a video about what it meant to be a god or goddess upon the planet. You need to check that video out. Because at the end of that video, it says that as a people, we must be the very arm of justice. When it's time to kill, you put down that goddamn fucking Bible, that Quran, that Torah, and do what you gotta do. And come back and pick it up again and keep it moving. That's all that shit is. You must become a true stoicist. You must become a true Machiavellian. Because if we don't, it's over. So here we go. I'll be right back. This is 11 minutes long, and I'll be right back.
Breaking. 7 African presidents paid by USA to boycott one Africa government. Is Africa doomed? By Takumabika, Supreme Africa breaking news. Tisu Vanuvacha, Supreme Family. Today's leak is volcanic. Protocol Black dropped a classified packet into Sabian's hands. Marked AU Supreme Audit Council. Shadow Unit Zulu added intercepted comms. What we found inside is nothing short of betrayal. 7 African presidents allegedly received covert payments traced back to U.S.-linked accounts. Their mission to sabotage the unification of Africa before the 2026 One Africa government launch. This is not rumor. It is not street gossip. It is structured evidence hidden in redacted bank trails, offshore transfers, and intercepted memos. The question is no longer whether foreign powers fear Africa's rise. The question is how far they will go to fracture the dream, and whether Africans will allow it.
I thought I knew what therapy was until I found the right therapist. And let me tell you, game changer. You see, for years, therapy.
Part 1. The Leak. The dossier Sagan reviewed is titled Foreign Influence and Presidential Inflows. Confidential. It maps transactions routed through European offshore banks and Middle Eastern conduits before landing in African presidential accounts. The amounts vary from tens of millions to hundreds of millions. The dates align with AU negotiation rounds on the One Africa Constitution. The transfers were disguised as development grants, security cooperation funds, or foundation donations. But auditors flagged inconsistencies, no public reporting, no parliamentary oversight, and no record in AU declarations. Shadow Unit Zulu cross-checked by intercepting diplomatic chatter from Washington nodes. The chatter used terms like insurance, friendly votes, and stall tactic. Together, the leak paints a chilling picture. Foreign money buying African leaders to boycott continental unity. Part 2. The strategy. The scheme follows a simple logic. Afrogold threatens the dollar. Afrinet threatens tech monopolies. One Africa government threatens the geopolitical hierarchy. So destabilization must come from within. The payments were designed not to overthrow governments, but to buy hesitation. Presidents were told to stall ratification of the One Africa Constitution, raise procedural objections, and demand endless amendments.
Some were instructed to boycott key summits or drag their feet on Afrogold pilot integration. By slowing momentum, the US could weaken unity before it became irreversible. The plan relied on divide and rule, the oldest colonial trick in the book. Part 3. The Regions. The dossier does not print names, but it lists 7 code words tied to regions. One from West Africa, where oil and gas contracts intersect with US interests. 2 from East Africa, where military cooperation has long given Washington leverage. 1 from Central Africa, heavily dependent on external aid. 1 from North Africa, pressured by debt deals. 2 from Southern Africa, courted through mining ties and elite networks. The redactions protect identities, but the regional spread proves this is not an isolated bribe. It is a coordinated pattern stretching across the continent. Part 4. The All Reaction. The Supreme Audit Council was furious. Its memo warned of high-level betrayal and called for urgent investigation. But when the council attempted to brief the assembly, political pressure buried the report. That is why insiders leaked to SA. According to Shadow Unit Zulu, heated debates erupted inside Addis. Some commissioners demanded public exposure of the presidents involved. Others feared instability if citizens discovered their leaders had been bought. The compromise: shelve the report, strengthen financial oversight quietly, and pray the leak never surfaced. Too late. It is here. Part 5. The Voices on the Ground. SAN reporters spoke to Africans across the continent.
Hold on.
In Accra, traders said this shows leaders selling Africa like bags of rice. In Harare, youth activists vowed that Afro gold and AfriNet will rise regardless of betrayal. In Lagos, comedians staged skits of presidents dancing under dollar rain while the people starved. In Nairobi, Boda Boda riders declared they trust their sweat more than politicians. In Bamako, griots sang songs warning of betrayal. In Johannesburg, miners said the real gold is not in vaults, but in unity. The people are not fooled. They see the money trails for what they are: chains disguised as gifts. Part 6. Diaspora Reactions. Diaspora Africans exploded with fury. In London, activists called for sanctions against the presidents who accepted bribes. In New York, black business groups announced plans to investigate offshore accounts tied to African elites. In Kingston, Afro-Caribbean leaders said this confirms why Africa must cut off dependency. Some diaspora intellectuals warned that exposure could destabilize Africa, but the majority shouted one line: betrayal must be punished. Part 7. The Global Response. Washington denied everything. Officials called the payments legitimate aid. But the intercepted chatter tells another story. Code words like stall tactic, insurance, and gatekeepers appear repeatedly in diplomatic cables. European diplomats expressed quiet concern, fearing backlash if the payments became public. BRIC states used the scandal to hammer home their message. The West is desperate, afraid, and willing to corrupt Africa from within. Russia offered forensic investigators to help trace the money. China promised to back African sovereignty financially. India and Brazil pledged food and tech partnerships to reduce dependency. The battle lines sharpen. Part 8. The Economic Impact. The scandal rattled markets. Afro gold futures surged as citizens rallied behind it as a symbol of resistance. Western currencies dipped in African trade hubs as traders whispered about betrayal. Banks in Johannesburg and Lagos saw sudden deposits of diaspora cash as Africans abroad rushed to support local economies. The signal was clear. When foreign money buys presidents, ordinary Africans double down on unity. Part 9. The Elders Speak. Across the continent, elders and spiritual leaders framed the scandal as part of Africa's long struggle. A Malian griot sang that a leader who eats foreign coin cannot feed his people. A Ghanaian elder warned that betrayal from within is more dangerous than any NATO warship. A Zimbabwean spirit medium declared the ancestors are watching and justice will come. These voices give moral weight to what might otherwise seem like dry financial corruption.
Hold on.
Part 10. The Prophecy Angle. Some elders went further. In Ethiopia, monks pointed to ancient manuscripts predicting that the greatest danger to African unity would not come from outside armies, but from leaders blinded by silver. In Senegal, Sufi clerics reminded followers that destiny bends but does not break. This prophecy framing connects today's leaks to centuries of African memory. It transforms scandal into spiritual warning. Part 11. The comedy angle. Africans laughed through rage. Memes flooded WhatsApp showing presidents carrying sacks of dollars labeled Made in USA. DJs remixed intercepted cable headings into Afrobeats hits. Comedians in Lagos acted out leaders selling AfroGo Gold vault keys for McDonald's coupons. Laughter became a shield against despair and a weapon of expression. Part 12. The risks. The leak warns of risks. If names are exposed without proof, civil unrest could erupt. If foreign powers double down, they may fund militias to defend their investments. If presidents panic, they could try to shut down AfroGold and Afronet pilots. But the greatest risk is silence. Without exposure, betrayal festers. Part 13. The opportunities. The scandal also creates openings. The AU can strengthen its audit systems. Citizens can demand transparency. Diaspora networks can track offshore accounts. Civil society can demand presidents declare assets. Most importantly, AfroGold and Afronet gain symbolic power. If enemies are willing to spend billions to stop them, then they must be with it defending with everything. Part 14. The shadow economy. The leak also implicates African elites beyond presidents. Certain business tycoons facilitated transfers. Logistics firms moved money. Lawyers in European capitals managed shells. These networks are as dangerous as foreign diplomats. Protocol Black urges civil society to track not only presidents, but also their accomplices. Part 15. The street-level movement. In Dakar, youth launched a movement called Africa First, demanding leaders return bribe money. In Lusaka, students formed committees to monitor government contracts. In Addis, civil society demanded the AU Supreme Audit Council release full reports. Across Africa, betrayal sparked resistance rather than despair. Part 16. The diaspora's role. Diaspora groups pledged action. In London, lawyers prepared to file cases against offshore accounts. In New York,
No puedes creer cómo están regalando estabilizadores completamente gratis. Apuesto que debe ser una trampa. Hola a todos, la promoción.
activists promised to pressure Congress. In Toronto, coders began building blockchain trackers for African public funds. Diaspora is no longer spectator. It is weapon of accountability. Part 17. The AU's next move. The AU faces a choice. Name and shame the 7 presidents, risking destabilization, or protect them quietly, risking credibility. Insiders say the assembly leans towards silence, but leaks like this make silence impossible. Shadow Unit Zulu says more packets are coming. Names may soon be impossible to hide. Part 18. The cliffhanger. Protocol Black's final line in the packet reads, "This is only phase 1. Foreign actors plan more payouts tied to AfroGold sabotage and Afronet hacks. Watch the vaults. Watch the cables. Translation, the war has only begun. Final fire. Tisu Vanhu Vacho. Supreme family. 7 presidents took the coin of betrayal, but they cannot take the soul of Africa. AfroGold will rise. Afronet will connect. One Africa government will launch. The West can buy hesitation, but it cannot buy destiny. Our ancestors died in chains. We will not die in bribes. This is Takunda Mabika. SADBN will keep unrolling redactions, exposing offshore trails, and naming the forces that fear Africa's rise. Share this video wide. Discuss it in your homes, your churches, your mosques, your markets. Demand transparency. Demand dignity. Stay sharp. Stay proud. Stay supreme.
Oh. All of what the white nations are doing, white people are doing against the unification of black people, not only in America but across the globe, is fear. They know that as soon as we are in control, we're getting that control every single day. It's over for them, and that's the reason why they fucking flipping out. Fuck Charlie Kirk and his fucking wife, because I can tell you that bitch, as soon as she get a BBC up in that pussy, it's over with. So let's go and let's do this. White people are finally giving credit to black invention. Here we go. They didn't invent shit. Let's go.
You can't unsee what I'm about to show you. You might want to start checking Amazons for blankets because this gas furnace behind me, you don't get to have one of those either because that was invented by a black woman named Alice Parker around 1920. She received a patent on it. Yeah, that's how we stay warm today. I mean, if you love potato chips, they gotta go because a man named George Crumb, a chef in New York, had sent French fries out with a meal and a customer complained. So what did Mr. Crumb do? He sliced potatoes so thin, fried them up, dumped a bunch of salt on them, and sent them out. And that was the American delight of potato chips. They gotta go. Man, here in the bathroom, Lotta Newman patented the first hairbrush with synthetic bristles in 1898, and she's just the third Black American woman to ever receive a patent. And I know this isn't going to affect those skinheads very much.
Cool, now let's talk about some of the things Black people have done. You're scared to do that, aren't you? I thought you did. Black people literally built the White House. They built the U.S. Capitol. They also built Independence Hall. The capitals for South Carolina, Louisiana, Virginia, and for Alabama were all built by African Americans. But
this is your ship.
Hold
It's a beacon of hope. Now a wreck buried in alien soil. Shot down in...
But wait, there's more.
So what was the point to all of this? Reality reads like this list. Black Americans were already here, already building, and already creating everything. Designing the microphones inside your phone, the networks under your texts, the heat in your building, the optics in your space science, the cartridges that built an entire gaming industry, the clinical tools that dignify autonomous care, and the dull metal boxes swallowing your mail on the corner. Erasing the creativity and the genius of the original people isn't accidental. It's an act of violence. You can keep pretending you invented everything, sure. Or you can look around, call things what they are, and stop living on lies. Pretending to be superior in technology and a spiritual power you can't even use. The entire world can see the limitations of racists. The big question is, however, why can't you?
Black man invented a stoplight. White man invented a ticket.
Keep going.
Black man invented the light bulb. White man invented electric bill.
Hi guys, my name is Steffi and you're welcome back to the channel. If someone had told me years ago that white people would be the ones openly listing out Black inventions and admitting that the world literally can't survive without them, I wouldn't have believed it. But here we are, from the traffic lights to elevators to technology that shapes modern life. Black people have contributed so much, yet history books barely give them the credit. So when I saw this clip of white folks actually acknowledging the fact, I knew I had to share it with you guys. So guys, let's get into the video. I'll be right back.
Our world would suck without the amazing contributions of Black Americans, Part 2. Let's give a nod to the brilliant Patricia Bath, a proud Howard University grad who pioneered laser cataract surgery and became the first Black American female to receive a medical patent. We owe a big debt of gratitude to Dr. Shirley Ann Jackson, whose research enabled the invention of the portable fax machine, the touchtone telephone, fiber optic cables, call waiting, and caller ID. She was also the first Black American woman to earn a PhD from MIT. And Mark Hanna blew our minds because his programs created the special effects for movies like Jurassic Park, Beauty and the Beast, Aladdin, and so many more. Dr. Betty Harris created spot tests to identify explosives in the field. Boom. Let's show some love to Paul Williams because he had sky-high aspirations because his work helped lead to the first prototype of the helicopter for the Navy in World War II. Richard Spikes was smooth as glass when he created and patented the first automatic gear shift transmission in 1932. And I'll say this 1,000 more times. Black history is American history. I'll see you on the road.
Hold on.
Alright, racists, let's talk about the part of history you like to tout the most. Black inventions. And along with those inventions comes the receipts. Racist America has pretended for far too long that black people haven't created or invented most things, if not every single thing we use daily. They like to pretend that the toolbox of life just appeared out of nowhere, or that it was gifted by some default white guy. Then they act shocked every single time a black indigenous American shows up in the patent record. This pattern in history of gaslighting and erasure ends now. So why don't we break the spell with a hit list of under-referenced black American inventors, whose work you touch, hear, and rely on every single day, whether you say their names or not. This is what I call the not-so-familiar list. James E. West co-invented the electric microphone in 1962. That tiny capsule in smartphones, laptops, hearing aids, and almost every modern mic, brought to you by a black man, James West. George Edward Alcorn Jr. built the imaging X-ray spectrometer in 1984 that sharpened space and materials research. NASA named him Inventor of the Year. Translation, he built the instruments that actually see what the naked eye can't. Black brilliance. Meredith Gourdine pioneered electro-gas dynamics, devices like incinerate cut smoke and industrial pollution. He engineered the actual physics. David N. Crosswaite Jr., architect of modern HVAC controls for big buildings. He has 39 U.S. patents, some of which include heating systems for Radio City Music Hall as well as Rockefeller Center. So when you visit these places, your climate comfort is running on David's math. Walter Lincoln Hawkins created durable polymer cable sheathing so telephone lines could survive the sun and harsh weather. Otis Boykin designed precision resistors that stabilized consumer electronics and pacemaker controls. George Carruthers invented the far ultraviolet camera / spectrograph used on Apollo 16 to image Earth's atmosphere and interstellar space. When science looked farther, it used George's instrument. Jerry Lawson led the team behind the interchangeable video game cartridge, the truest pioneer to console gaming. Jesse Russell was the key architect of digital cellular systems and base station tech. He laid the groundwork for the networks that your phone lives on. Marian Croak is the holder of 200 plus patents in voice over IP and internet call tech. So as far as internet calling as a service, she operationalized the pipeline. Valerie Thomas, the pioneer behind the Illusion Transmitter 3D image tech at NASA. Bessie Blount Griffin, inventor of the self-feeding device used for amputees and a disposable emesis basin. It's a clinical design that restored autonomy to its users in this country. Then it spread internationally. Alice H. Parker created the 1919 patent for a gas-fired centrally zoned heating furnace. She also planted the seed ideas for modern home heating segmentation. Miriam E. Benjamin, in 1888, created the gong and signal chair, a call button system predating hotel service alerts. The start of push to summon was formulated by her genius. Andrew J. Beard invented the Jenny coupler in 1897, which is an automated, dangerous link and pin rail coupling. His work improved freight efficiency and worker safety. Philip B. Downing created the street letterbox in 1891 with a weather shielding door for mail drop-off. Yes, a black man created the mailbox. John Stannard, in 1891, he invented the non-electric refrigerator and compact oil stove, the pioneer of non-electric appliances. Richard B. Spikes, he iterated the automatic gear shift and most automotive safety systems. Lloyd Hall, he advanced food preservation, using safer curing salts, using spice sterilization, and antioxidants. He created the industry-level shelf life. So what was the point to all of this? Reality reads like this list. Black Americans were already here, already building, and already creating everything. Designing the microphones inside your phone, the networks under your techs, the heat in your building, the optics in your space science, the cartridges that built an entire gaming industry, the clinical tools that dignify autonomous care, and the dull metal boxes swallowing your mail on the corner. Erasing the creativity and the genius of the original people isn't accidental. It's an act of violence. You can keep pretending you invented everything, sure. Or you can look around, call things what they are, and stop living on lies. Pretending to be superior in technology and a spiritual power you can't even use. The entire world can see the limitations of racists. The big question is, however, why can't you?
My blog post how to write an ebook in 7 steps. I just paste the URL here, click fetch.
Many black inventors face challenges in reaping the financial benefits of their invention due to systemic racial discrimination that hindered their access to resources, capital, and patents. Large corporations or government agencies often reap the profits of these black inventions. George Washington Carver discovered over 300 uses for peanuts, including peanut butter. His greatest contribution was in agriculture innovation, especially rotation techniques for cotton farming. However, Harvard did not patent most of his discoveries, and he worked primarily to help farmers. He made very little money from his invention, while larger white-owned farms reaped the financial benefit of his discoveries, creating generational wealth for their families because they had the capital to take advantage of his discoveries. Next up, we have Garrett Morgan. He invented the traffic signal, red light, green light, yellow light, slow down, and the gas mask. Morgan sold his patent for the traffic signal to the General Electric Company, so they reaped the financial benefits from the mass production and adoption of the invention, creating what? More generational wealth for white families instead of black ones. Morgan's gas mask was used in World War I, and he started his own business making and selling it, but still benefiting little financially because bigger companies came in and mass-produced them. Next up, we have Louis Ladner. He invented the carbon planet for light bulbs and the process for manufacturing it, which improved the lifespan of electric light bulbs. Although Ladner made important contributions to Thomas Edison's light bulb, he did not personally benefit from the invention. He worked as a patent draftsman and engineer for Edison and other companies, but much of the financial gain went to the companies that used his patents because he didn't have the resources or capital to use it himself and build what? Generational wealth. Next, Granville T. Woods invented the multiplex telegraph, an early version of wireless communications that allowed multiple messages to be sent over the same wire. A black man. Okay? You texting? Black man invented it. Woods received patents for several of his inventions, but often struggled with patent infringement cases because they came after him for his inventions. Many of his inventions were used by larger companies, such as General Electric, which exploited his ideas without giving them significant financial compensation, and he didn't have the money to fight back. Next, we have Marie Van Britten Brown, who invented the home security system, including a camera, monitor, and remote control door lock. Brown patented the invention in 1966, but her financial gains were limited. The patent was sold to a larger company that developed the home security industry further. Because why? Because they had more capital, more resources. As with many black inventors, she did not see substantial long-term financial rewards for her patent, for her inventions. So another opportunity for generational wealth lost. Denied by who? Anybody want to guess? Right. Next, we have Dr. Patricia Babb, who invented the laser phaco probe, an innovative technology that revolutionized eye surgery. While her invention significantly improved cataract treatment, she did not personally profit as much as she should have. The technology was widely adopted in the medical field, but much of the financial reward went to the medical institutions and companies that had the money and resources to implement the technology worldwide. I hope y'all picking up what I'm putting down. Next, we have Otis Boykin. He invented the improved resistor used in electronic devices such as computers, guided missiles, and pacemakers. Boykin did patent his innovations, but he did not receive large-scale financial rewards. His work was incorporated into products by larger companies, which profited from the widespread use of his invention, particularly in the electronics and defense sectors. Another lost opportunity for generational wealth for black families. Next up, we have John P. Parker, who made improvements to the industrialized furnace. Parker's contributions were significant in the industrial field, but like many black inventors, he did not fully benefit from the financial rewards. His work was used by larger companies, so once again, no generational wealth gain. That gain went to white-owned companies. Next up, we have Henry Sampson, who invented the gamma electric cell, a technology used in the development of portable power sources such as batteries. While Sampson did not receive a significant financial windfall from his invention, surprise, surprise, he was instrumental in the development of battery technology. However, much of the economic benefits went to corporations and the military that adopted this technology. So once again, no generational wealth gain for black families. I hope you picked up the importance of building black capital and resources so our future patents and trademark opportunities for generational wealth cannot so easily be stolen from us. I hope you also picked up on the fact that this type of information is not taught in our schools because they don't want our black children to know what they're capable of by learning about these real-life black inventors, these amazing black examples. They also don't want their children to know about our Black contributions because then they would know where their family money really came from. I love y'all, and I'll see y'all in the next one. Knowledge is power, power to the people.
Hi, this is just a reminder that Black people created country music. If you don't believe me, here are some of the sources about the history of country music, including one from Harvard. For instance, the banjo is a crucial instrument in country music, and it has its origins in West Africa. It's similar to a lute that was brought over by enslaved Black people during the transatlantic slave trade. What is now called hillbilly music actually has a very rich history in things like African folklore, field songs, spirituals, and the blues. We see a lot of white people trying to gatekeep country music, and yet they are neglecting the fact that the very reason the genre exists in the first place is because of this root that traces all the way back to enslaved Black people, to African music, and to a genre that was born of oppression in the United States. So when people complain about Beyonce not being country music, or when white people were mad about Lil Nas X, just know that like many things, this hatred is rooted in racism and cultural appropriation, because guess who was actually the founders of this genre? It wasn't white people.
So you're telling me that it's not healthy to obsess over your partner 24/7 like I do? What you've described there is...
What would life look like without the contributions of Black inventors? Dropping off some mail. Hey, this outdoor mailbox doesn't have any door on it. My mail could get wet if it starts to rain really hard. Should be alright. It's a beautiful day. Hey, elevator guy, I'm going to the 12th floor. Excellent, sir. Let me just close these doors real quick. Those doors don't close automatically? Nah, that was never invented. I think I got them though. Hey man, the doors aren't closed all the way. They're not closed. They're not closed! Hey man, you ran right into me. Jeez man, I'm sorry. My signal told me to go, but then when I was in the middle of the intersection, it said stop. I didn't know what to do. You know, there really should be some type of signal in between stop and go. You know, something that tells people who are going to slow down before the people on the other side of the road go. Yeah, that's wishful thinking. Whatever. You got insurance? Hey, where'd he go? I just dropped off the delivery and it was mostly apples and bananas. So can you sign this for me? Hey man, what happened to all this fruit? It's rotten. Well, this stuff is from California. You know, I've been driving with it for a few days, so I guess it didn't stay fresh during the drive. There really should be a way for you to keep fruit fresh during long drives. Keep fruit fresh during long drives? What kind of imaginary world do you live in, bro? Can you just sign this for me? I gotta drop off some rotten cabbage across town. Hey man, somebody broke into my house while I was on vacation. They took my big screen TV and everything. Did you see anything? No, I didn't see anything. I didn't even realize you went on vacation. Man, there really should be a way for you to put an alarm on your house so if somebody tries to break in, it alerts the whole neighborhood. You should have cameras on the outside. So at least you get footage of the person breaking in so the cops can catch them. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, well, that sounds like something from a movie. Speaking of movies, I'm going to go watch some of my brand new TV. Hey, man, where'd you get that new TV from? I got it from someplace, man. I can't really talk right now. I'll see you later.
This is that Facebook revolution. Classic offline, GPS, technical messages, and guarantees. The basic, home security system, where the rest. Secret sanctions, 3D movies, over 300 uses for the keynote. Just outside, huge inventions on the key. Flyer, base, installation, wallboard, wood save, self-shading, motions. Blood transfusions, elevator doors, maxi packs, the modern athlete, nurse friends, fashion, your literal cell phone that you're watching. R&D movies, laser eye surgery, the folding chair, style, Alabama, country and rock music, and the modern toilet, the golf, each one, half of the stage, two songs, EID, adjustable wrenches, the rotary and
If you've ever considered immigrating to Canada, you might have encountered the term express entry. It's
So that's the end of that one. Now, before we go on, this one deals with the 7 black sellouts you definitely met before. We need to know the sign and get rid of these motherfuckers before they do any damage. But if they done any damage at all, hold them accountable. And this one is 10 minutes long, and I will be right back.
The enemy of black people is white, and they're right. Some of the biggest betrayals come from within our own community. The so-called sellouts, the ones who trade dignity for approval, culture for profit, and truth for survival. And here's the thing, there isn't just one kind of sellout. There are seven different masks, some obvious, some disguised. And once you see them clearly, you'll understand how much damage they've done. In the Caribbean, there were the house slaves who policed the field slaves. In Africa, some chiefs traded their rivals into slavery. In America, some leaders cut deals with segregationists for their own advancement. And today, it's the same game, just in a suit, on a TV screen, or on Instagram. Sellouts survive by aligning with power, but at the expense of their people. Number one, the gang leader. He recruits the next generation into prison or the grave. In London, Johannesburg, Chicago, Kingston, the story's the same. He tells young boys the streets will give them family, protection, respect. But really, it's exploitation. He sells out his own people for quick money, leaving mothers to bury their sons. In the 1980s, the crack epidemic in America wasn't just about government flooding black communities with drugs. It was also about young black men being manipulated into selling poison to their neighbors. They became middlemen in their own community's destruction. In the UK today, night crime steals lives before they reach adulthood, often at the hands of kids who could have been brothers. The gang leader isn't just a victim of the system, he becomes a weapon of the system, enforcing genocide in slow motion. He kills not only bodies, but futures. When he recruits, he isn't building an army for liberation. He's staffing a graveyard. The gang leader thinks he's hustling the system, but in reality, the system is hustling him. Number two, the corporate climber. He's the diversity poster child in the office, smiling in the company brochure. He laughs when racist jokes fly in the boardroom, because rocking the boat might cost his promotion. He insists he doesn't see race, because it makes his white colleagues comfortable. In London, one black banker admitted he never confronted colleagues who consistently offered him a banana and watermelon at lunch. Why? Because he didn't want to make it awkward. That silence is expensive. It doesn't just cost his dignity, it costs representation. Because every time he swallows the truth, the lie grows stronger. Corporate climbers don't just assimilate, they amputate. They amputate their culture, their voice, their people, to fit into a suit stitched by a system that never planned to tailor it for them in the first place. You can climb the ladder, but if it's leaning against the wrong wall, you're just further from freedom. Number three, the celebrity puppet. They smile on TV, spit bars in the studio. They live the dream, but not their own. They perform the caricatures white supremacy sells, the hypersexual, the violent, the clownish. In America, big rappers who glorify death, drugs, and disrespect, while avoiding any mention of the downsides of that life and the systemic issues. In Africa, entertainers who dismiss their traditions as backward while parroting Western ideals to get a seat at the global table. They cash the check, but the price is bigger than money, because the world watches them and concludes blackness is only valuable when it entertains. Like ventriloquist dolls, the lips move, but the voice belongs to someone else. If your art doesn't free, inspire, educate, and bring joy to your people, it is probably chaining them. Number four, the political opportunist. He shakes hands, kisses babies, and betrays communities. He campaigns in the hood, but legislates for the elite. In America, they will gut civil rights protections that others bled for. In the Caribbean, politicians sign away land and resources to foreign corporations, while their people starve. In the UK, black MPs downplay racism to appear reasonable in white circles. Frederick Douglass once warned, the limits of tyrants are prescribed by the endurance of those whom they oppress. Political opportunists extend those limits. They normalize betrayal. They cloak cowardice as pragmatism. And their seat at the table becomes another lock on the chains. A seat in parliament means nothing if it costs you your soul in the process. Number 5, the respectability preacher. They scold instead of support. They preach that racism would vanish if we just acted better. Pull up your pants, speak the Queen's English, stop listening to hip-hop. In Jamaica, church elders lecture youth on their hair and clothes, while corruption rots the political system untouched. In America, they solely blame young black men for their current predicament. In the UK, the respectability crowd insists you can't face racism if you sound and act posh enough. Respectability is their religion, a false one, because no matter how polite, polished, or perfect you are, racism doesn't disappear. Rosa Parks wore her Sunday best when she was arrested. Martin Luther King wore a suit when he was assassinated. You can dress your way out of poverty, but never out of prejudice. Number 6, the culture trader. They wear their culture like a costume when it profits them, but disown it when it costs them. They mock African accents in private, but sell tutorials to white TikTokers on how to wind their waist. They license African land and resources to foreign powers, selling heritage for a check. In London, some influencers profit off dances and slang from the block, then turn around and shame their own people for being ghetto. In Africa, leaders let foreign corporations pillage ancestral lands while their people beg for scraps. Culture traders don't just sell products, they sell identity, and every sale dilutes the richness of what we fought to preserve. When you sell your roots, you won't have branches left to stand on. Number 7, the media mouthpiece. They control the mic, the pen, the camera, but not for us. They work in newsrooms, production studios, publishing houses, selling stories that keep stereotypes alive. They're the black face that reassures white audiences. See, it's not racist if we say it too. In America, it's the commentator who blames black poverty on laziness while ignoring systemic racism. In the UK, it's the TV pundit who calls stop and search necessary. But here's the problem. The data doesn't back that up. Home Office reports show that stop and search has a tiny impact on reducing crime. In some cases, less than 1%. What it does succeed in is fueling resentment, criminalizing innocent young black men, and deepening the very mistrust that makes communities less safe. It's easy to say it's targeted policing, but if 9 out of 10 people searched are innocent, then what you really have is harassment disguised as safety. And when a generation grows up seeing the police as an occupying force instead of protectors, the long-term damage is far greater than the short-term gain. In Africa and the Caribbean, it's local journalists who parrot Western headlines while ignoring grassroots struggles at home. The media mouthpiece doesn't just misrepresent us, they help script the very narratives that justify our oppression. They sell out by turning propaganda into paychecks. If you don't control the story, you'll always live inside someone else's lie. Here's the uncomfortable truth. Most sellouts don't see themselves as sellouts. The gang leader tells himself he's giving kids a way to survive. The corporate climber insists they're just playing the game to get ahead. The political opportunist says compromise is necessary. The respectability preacher swears they're uplifting the race. That's what makes it dangerous, because betrayal dressed up as survival, pragmatism, or progress is harder to challenge. When someone believes they're helping, they'll dismiss any criticism as envy or negativity. And if we don't name it for what it is, their excuses become the culture, and betrayal becomes normal. This isn't about shaming individuals. It's about exposing patterns. Sellouts are symptoms of a deeper disease, a system that rewards betrayal and punishes loyalty. But we don't have to play by those rules. We can build independent power, own our culture, control our stories, support leaders with integrity, and reinvest in our communities. A sellout can only prosper where people feel powerless. But when the community is united, self-sufficient, and clear about its values, the sellout has no stage to perform on. A sellout isn't just them. It could be you, me, any of us, if we don't guard our integrity. That's the real battlefield. Protect your values. Protect your people. That's how we win. It's Afro Algo. Peace.
Now, he said some very real shit. Integrity, character, a lot of other virtues, unity. Touch one, you touch all. It gets to be real fucking easy to see, you guys. This is it. Man, this is it. Now, I'm not one for long words. This is Black MAGA tells lies to justify Charlie Kirk racism regarding DEI. So we gotta wake up, guys. You're getting
Why?
Hold on.
Why not?
Hold on. So we need to really get on point. Stay on point. Stay on cue. Because if we don't, it's going to be the end of us. But I know deep down inside, this is what we want. Unity. This is what we want. Complete control. This is what we want. Black power, black dominance, black superiority. It can't be any other way. It can't be any other way. So let's move on and go on to the next one. And be right back. It's about 9 minutes long.
When I tell you guys, I hate these bootlicking, buck dancing, sellout ass black MAGAs, I really do. Like, I really do, because they will lie. They will lie just to justify the racism of the white people that they hang around. Like, they will lie for the Republican Party. They will just make shit up. I saw a video the other day of this guy saying, "Oh, black people are leaving the Republican or leaving the Democratic Party once they started looking up Charlie Kirk for themselves." And everyone who wants...
Now, let me say this. In the 1960s, during the... What's the name of that president? After JFK. I can't think of it, but you know who I'm talking about. The Democratic Party left... white people left the Democratic Party and went over to the Republican Party because they did not want to see black people getting any kind of rights. And I can't think of it. You know what I'm talking about. President in 1968, 9, somewhere around there, was the end all and be all with the Democratic Party. So today's party, the Republican Party, consists majorly white Democrats. The white Democrats from the Democratic Party left the Democratic Party in the late 60s and switched over to the Republican Party. We are dealing with disaffected white folks that don't like niggas. So the party of the Republican Party, not the original party of Lincoln, which was a black political party with his vice president Hannibal Hamlin, who was black, was overtaken over time, and now it is consisting of white folks, disaffected white folks who don't want to see niggas having nothing. All right, so let me clear that up.
To send me a video to try to prove to me that Charlie Kirk wasn't racist, sends me the same video. It's always the same video. It's the video of Charlie Kirk saying, "I want to get rid of the social construct that is race. I want there to be no race at all." Charlie Kirk used that the way people use, "I don't see color." We live in a society where people are different colors. And we all see color. Doesn't mean we need to discriminate based on color, but we see color. But all of these people who are against DEI and affirmative action, they always say, "I just want people to be judged by the content of their character and not the color of their skin." We all do. We all do.
That's bullshit.
Unfortunately, There are multiple studies that show that that is not happening, that there is a lot of discrimination in employment, in housing, and in education. And even when we had affirmative action in DEI,
hold on.
The percentages of black people, people of color, and all of that got jobs or accepted into school or bought homes and all that still barely changed. They still found ways to discriminate. So the government steps in sometimes and says, we're going to have to force your hand. We're going to have to force your hand. And what DEI mostly does is cause companies to at least take in more black applicants. Just look at their applications and see if they might be fit for the job. It's never said you have to hire this many black people. Some companies have went out and said, we're going to hire 20 more black people. That is up to them. But DEI has never said you have to make them hire more black people. No, it said, hey, spread your net out wider, see if you can get more black candidates, and just see if they meet the qualifications. So, this video of this black woman who is going to claim, and this is when I say I hate these people and they just lie. She wants you to believe that when she was in college, her and all her classmates were sitting around sharing their GPAs. All her classmates were white. She was the only black person in there. She was at UC Santa Cruz, she says, which is not far from where I live. All her classmates are white. She's the only black person. They all have 3.6 GPAs, and she has a 3.2. And then a white guy says to her, you only got in here because you're black. All of the stereotypes. The story that someone would tell to prove to you that affirmative action or someone's a DEI hire, it all happened to her. She just happened to be in a class where she's the only black person in an all-white class. And they just happened to decide to share their GPAs with each other. Okay, that's weird. She happened to have the lowest GPA, right? And then someone happens to say, you only got in because you're black. And then she said, why would you say that? But then later on, she realized they were probably right. Because of affirmative action, she probably got in because of that. That is what she said. It's all a fucking lie.
There is discrimination happening in America right now, legal, systemic racism discrimination, but it's not necessarily happening against brown folk. It's happening against Asians and whites on the books. That's why I fought against Prop 16, because for one, those of us with brown skin, we don't meet standards lower than standards, so please us, okay? And secondly, it creates resentment. When I went and got my 4-year degree, and then I went and got my master's, we sat around a room. This is at UC Santa Cruz, like a total horrible college. And we sat around the room and we shared our GPAs. Mine was the lowest. And there was a white guy that said, oh, you got in here because you're a black woman. And I was like, why would you say that? Blah, 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 blah. And now I look back and I'm like, you know what? They do that now. I actually got a $40,000 scholarship because I'm black. That's not happening for white kids. It's not like you can apply and get a white kid $40,000 scholarship. They would not let that happen.
And she got a $40,000 scholarship. And she says, you wouldn't get that if you're white. Yeah, you could. There's scholarships for Europeans. There's scholarships for Germans and Italians and Swedish people, Irish people. There's scholarships for people whose skin is white. It's weird that you didn't know that. It's also weird that you went to a school and you're out here saying, we don't need the help. Don't worry about giving us brown people help. We don't need it. We can reach the standards. But then you're admitting you wouldn't have been in the school if you hadn't gotten it for being black. You didn't reach the standards according to you. And then she gets a $40,000 scholarship. And you know what's worse than the fact that I know she made this up? It's worse that she's making it up and she's basically saying we shouldn't give those opportunities to other black kids. She took the opportunities herself. She wouldn't have been at the school if she weren't black, according to her. She wouldn't have gotten the $40,000 scholarship if she weren't black, according to her. So now she's saying, all right, I made it. Keep the fucking ladder down. Fuck the rest of them black kids out there. Fuck them all. You wouldn't be where you were, where you are today, if it weren't for the help that you got. But you're saying, don't give anyone else help. And that's all it is it's a little help. Like, why are we against that? Why are you against scholarships for people who don't have the means to go to college? Why are you against a college saying, you know what? black kids in that neighborhood over there don't have the same resources as white kids in this neighborhood. And I bet you if we gave those kids more chances, they would probably excel just like these white people would. So let's do this. Let's have this thing called diversity, equity, and inclusion, where we go and grab some of those black kids from less affluent communities where we know if they didn't have to, walk to school and worry about, the crime in their area, or if they had parents who both had better jobs, man, they probably would thrive. So let's go ahead and give them a little extra help so they can thrive. Why is that a problem? I'm really trying to understand why people have a problem with a group of people or a company saying, we realize there's a difference between poor kids and affluent kids. So let's do something to help those kids. As a teacher, if I notice a certain group of kids in my class continually do bad, and I notice it's because they're sitting in this one corner of the room, I'm going to try to remove them from that corner to a different spot in the room to hopefully get their grades up. I'm going to go to them and I'm going to counsel them. I'm not going to worry about the kid who's getting A's in my class easily. I'm going to go to the kid who's struggling and say, what can I do to help you not struggle? And if they say, can you move me up front? Maybe speak a little bit slower. Maybe, allow me to take notes or allow me to, take a little bit longer on a test or something. If you're the A student already, why are you mad that I'm trying to get that kid up to your level? I'm just really dumbfounded. Like, this woman she's got to be one of the dumbest people ever. Like, she wants to be Candace Owens or something. She's literally saying, I got all this help and I wouldn't be where I am today without it, but I don't want anyone else to get it. What the fuck? Period.
Don't want no enemies or ops. Envy in
You heard it. Man, that hit the spot. And to be honest with you, hold on, make sure I get off of here correctly. So this one is the AFRINET server allegedly hacked from Europe. Africa shut gateway. That's the next one. But let me take a minute on what this brother was talking about. Now, here in the Dominican Republic where we live, being a Dominican American, I know how it is to go to school, get good grades, was able to go to University of Hawaii, graduate, had a great time and all of that. And I never really made bad grades. But I was determined to do well. When I was struggling with some topic, I would go and ask the professor that, to take more time and help me to understand what is going on. Now, one of the things, hold on, I'm going to put it into the chat. One of the things that I do like is this program. Hope it comes up. Yeah, there you go. IXL.com. When I tell you that my boys, they are 6 and 8 now. They're in 2nd grade and 4th grade. One up from where they should be legally. I don't know if that's legally figuring them out. Where they should be age-wise. They're 1 grade up. And that is due to a constant flow and connection with IXL. When I tell you IXL.com is beyond excellent, and I'm hoping that they start a school, that it is earth-shattering, and it allows me as a parent to really see and gauge their progress. Now they are learning English, Spanish, and Hebrew because we are Jews and doing all of that. And the idea is still the same. Nothing can stop you when you have the right equipment, the right program, the right whatever. And this is why a lot of our people send their kids to school and letting the school do it. You can't do that. My people in America, you can't do that, man, because white folks are not going to teach your kids the truth, especially now, and that Africa is uniting and why and with the wherefores of all of that, they're not going to do that. The onus is on the parent. The first teacher is always the mother and father. And I'm so glad that I'm able to be there with them, because I wasn't there with my first few kids that I had, because I had to work. But now that I had the gumption to work and save and invest my money and be comfortable in living here like we want to live, and be able to spend time with my kids, it doesn't, and it doesn't take much. An hour a day for math, and an hour a day and you don't have to be it doesn't have to be concurrent, like 11 to 1. It can be, but depending on the kid and where their minds are, then you have to regulate that and put that into the equation. But 9 times out of 10, if you tell your child, 3 hours a day or 2 hours a day of study, and then you got the rest of the day to yourself. When they get accustomed to it, they're going to be like, I want to study. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to learn more. Now you are initiating something that is great. And one of the things that I like about, one of the things that I like about the United States of Africa with the AU, they're eliminating all these white-founded books and going back to the beginning and letting those kids know that they are of greatness. They come from greatness. And they gotten rid of all the, books that white folks wrote in order to put them into the light and leaving black people out. So we got to take the onus and the ownership of that and be the adult that lead, so that we can create more adults with great minds for the next generation. We owe that. All right. So before we go on, I'm gonna play this one. This is 13 minutes long, and it's talking about AFRINET servers allegedly hacked from Europe. Now, if black folks in America, not America, well, okay, if black folks in America and Africa and the continent unifying itself, and it's not about a damn thing, why are white folks so worried, all up in our business? Because they scared. That's what. White folks ain't nothing but a bunch of bitches and bastards. So fuck them. Don't pay them no mind. I'll be right back.
Emergency. AFRINET servers allegedly hacked from Europe. Africa shuts gateways. By Takunda Mavika, Supreme Africa breaking news. Tisu Bandubacho. Supreme family. Today the leak is Digital Thunder. Protocol Black dropped into our inbox a redacted cyber incident report stamped AU Cyber Command, and Shadow Unit Zulu followed it up with intercepted packet traces. What they say is shocking. AFRINET servers, the backbone of Africa's quiet march toward digital sovereignty, allegedly faced coordinated intrusion attempts traced back to European infrastructure. In response, the African Union issued an emergency order. Several gateways were shut down temporarily. Network routes were rerouted. Social media slowed in parts of the continent. Officials insisted this was precautionary, but the leaks tell a different story. They say Africa was under attack. This is not just about computers. This is about sovereignty, money, Afrogold, and the soul of a united Africa. This is the full 3,000 words, layered step by step, as we always do.
Hold on.
Part 1. The first warning. It began quietly, like all storms do. AFRINET's gateway logs flagged unusual login requests. Patterns showed bursts of failed authentication attempts, cycling through European IP addresses. The logs did not look like random hackers. They looked like coordinated probes. The redacted memo in our possession labeled it Suspicious Intrusion Attempt, Category Red. The timestamp was precise, midnight GMT. Multiple AFRENET nodes in Ghana, Nigeria, and Kenya all lit up at once. The system responded automatically, throttling connections. But by then, the traces were captured. Shadow Unit Zulu, our ever-watchful insiders, intercepted packet fragments routed through European servers. They confirmed what the logs implied. The attempts came from multiple exit points in Europe, disguised through VPNs, but too synchronized to be coincidence. Part 2. What AFRENET is, and why it matters. AFRENET is not just a network. It is Africa's digital backbone, the underground pilot of what will become the continent's independent internet by 2026. Every day, engineers expand its reach. Every day, test zones bring more users online. And every day, foreign powers grow more nervous. Because AFRENET is more than data. It carries pilot traffic for AfroGold, Africa's digital currency in waiting. It carries test elections for the One Africa Parliament. It carries secure transmissions for the One Africa Navy. Whoever holds AFRENET holds the keys to Africa's future. So when someone tries to breach AFRENET, they are not hacking a server. They are probing the continent's soul. Part 3. The leaked evidence. Protocol Black's packet included 4 pieces of evidence. First, redacted server logs showing multiple authentication failures, timestamped, geolocated to European nodes. Second, routing data showing abnormal path changes through European autonomous systems. Third, an IDS snapshot, intrusion detection signatures that flagged known espionage techniques, including packet floods designed to map internal gateways. Fourth, a redacted AFRENET incident report that read simply, event type, coordinated probing attempt. Response, gateway isolation initiated. Status contained, no raw exploit code, no technical manuals, just enough to paint the picture. Part 4, the emergency response. Within hours of detection, the AU Cyber Command convened in Addis Ababa. The order was swift. Shut down exposed gateways, divert traffic through safe corridors, alert national CERT teams, inform the assembly quietly, but keep the public calm. That is why users across Africa felt sudden slowness. Social media stuttered. Messaging apps dropped. In cities like Lagos and Nairobi, people joked about AFRENET being allergic to midnight. What they did not know was that an invisible battle was playing out in the cables beneath their feet. Part 5. African leaders divided. The leak also contained fragments of the internal debate. Some AU commissioners pushed for discretion, handle it quietly, avoid public panic. Others argued for full disclosure, saying secrecy had always been Africa's curse. One redacted comment stood out. If we hide this, we repeat colonial patterns. The people must know. The compromise was today's reality. The AU admitted a disruption but called it maintenance. Insiders leaked the truth to ABN because they feared cover-up. Part 6. What the suspected hackers wanted. Why Europe? Why now? The leaked analysis listed 3 possible objectives. First, mapping AFRENET infrastructure, to know where the servers are, how traffic flows, and where weaknesses exist. Second, intercepting AfroGold pilot transactions. Even small leaks of data could give outsiders insights into how the currency is being built, tested, and stored. Third, sowing doubt. If the world believes AFRENET is insecure, trust evaporates before the 2026 launch. The memo concluded with one chilling line: motivation, strategic advantage. Part 7. Street voices. Sabin left the paperwork and hit the streets. In Lagos, a taxi driver laughed. They will always try to spy on us, but Africa is not sleeping anymore. In Accra, a student asked if her scholarship application on AFRENET was safe. In Nairobi, a market vendor shook her head. If they can hack, can they steal our money? In Johannesburg, youth activists painted murals of golden cables wrapped around the continent like protective snakes. These voices remind us, people understand sovereignty even if they do not read server logs. The diaspora reaction. Diaspora Africans lit up group chats. In London, Afrotech collectives said they would raise funds for independent audits. In Toronto, young coders offered to volunteer. In New York, protests formed outside European embassies demanding hands-off AFRENET. For the diaspora, this was deja vu. For centuries, Africa's wealth was extracted. Now its data was at stake, and this time, they wanted to fight back. Part 9. Western denials. Predictably, Western governments denied involvement. Statements described the incident as misconfigured routing or simply fabricated. Some called it misinformation. But behind closed doors, Shadow Unit Zulu intercepted cables begging for discretion. One European ministry asked for quiet retrieval of implicated contractors. Another warned if Africa escalates, respond diplomatically, but deny involvement. Denials in public, panic in private.
For anyone experiencing blurry vision and concerns about deteriorating sight, do not have another oatmeal before you see this. Thousands of people are improving.
Part 10. The BRICS Angle. Meanwhile, BRICS partners circled the moment like sharks in warm water. Russia called the incident proof of Western sabotage. China offered forensic teams. India spoke of digital solidarity. Brazil promised open support. The AU tread carefully. Help is tempting, but every offer carries strings. Sovereignty means not replacing one master with another. Part 11. The Prophetic Voices. Elders weighed in. A griot in Mali sang that when the ancestors buried drums in the earth, they did not expect strangers to dig them up. A priest in Ghana said the river gods guard cables as fiercely as they guard fish. An Ethiopian monk warned that trespass in the digital world invites chaos in the real. Spiritual voices framed the hack as more than technical. They framed it as a continuation of colonial intrusion. Part 12. The Comedy Layer. Africans laugh even in cyberstorms. Lagos comedians posted memes of hackers opening Afronet only to find Nollywood movies buffering. Ghanaian DJs remixed error messages into club bangers. Kenyan TikTokers staged skits of hackers demanding Afro gold but receiving airtime recharge cards. Humor turned fear into resilience. Part 13. The Tech Forensics. Shadow Unit Zulu's appendix added details. Acoustic traces of packet floods aligned with European time zones. Routing data showed sudden detours through European autonomous systems. Firewall logs showed multiple simultaneous probes. Independent analysts in South Africa confirmed the anomalies. They stopped short of direct attribution, but agreed this was not random. Part 14. The Legal Battle Ahead. International cyber law is murky. Attribution is difficult. But the AU's legal team drafted complaints. If actors outside African mandate probed Afronet, it was espionage. That violated sovereignty. The memo recommended filing a complaint at the UN, demanding explanations and pushing for recognition of Afronet as critical infrastructure under international protection. Whether the world listens is another story. Part 15. Economic fallout. Markets responded instantly. Afrogold futures dipped, then rebounded as African citizens rallied online. Insurance firms raised premiums on undersea cable protection. Telecom shares fluctuated, but African economists reframed it. Better to reveal the threat now than suffer collapse later. Short-term turbulence, long-term sovereignty. Part 16. On the ground in gateway cities. In Mombasa, technicians rerouted cables under police guard. In Lagos, power backups were tested. In Cape Town, engineers slept on office floors. Afronet was not collapsing. It was defending. The leak made clear. The network held. The hack was contained. Africa proved it could fight back. Part 17. Shadow economy. The leak also hinted at complicity. Some African firms may have knowingly provided logistics to foreign contractors. Payments disguised as consultancy fees. Equipment shipped under research labels. This shadow economy is Africa's second hand, not...
Okay, sorry about that.
Outsiders only, but insiders selling shortcuts. The AU vowed to investigate. Whether they follow through is up to us, the citizens, to demand. Part 18. Cultural Reflections. In Dakar, poets wrote verses about digital chains being broken. In Kinshasa, street painters depicted Afronet servers as ancient drums glowing with fire. In Lusaka, churches prayed for protection over Africa's digital heart. Culture absorbs shock and transforms it. Africa was making the hack its story, not its scar. Part 19. What if this had succeeded? Analysts painted scenarios. If the breach had succeeded, Afrogold data could be exposed. Election pilots could be compromised. Citizen trust could be destroyed before launch. The leak made one thing clear. This was a warning shot. Not yet a wound, but a test. Part 20. The Cliffhanger. The final page of the leak was chilling. It read, possible multiple nodes undetected. Translation, more attempts may come. The European probes were not the end, only the beginning. Shadow Unit Zulu warned of comms suggesting 2 other gateways may have been targeted. That means the battle is not over. It has only started. Part 21. The Lesson for Africa. Supreme Family, here is what this moment means. Africa is no longer a passive victim in cyberspace. It is a battlefield. Afronet is no longer an experiment. It is a target. AfroGold is no longer a dream. It is a threat to global powers. The leak proves Africa must defend itself not only on land and sea, but in the invisible cables that carry our future. Part 22. Call to action. CBN calls for 4 things. Publish sanitized evidence so the public sees the truth. Protect Afronet engineers and whistleblowers. Accelerate investment in African cybersecurity capacity. Demand accountability at the AU Assembly and the UN. This is not paranoia. This is protection. Part 23. Final fire. Tisu Vanhu Bacho. Supreme Family, today Africa shut gateways, not out of weakness but out of strength. Better to isolate, defend, and stand tall than to ignore invisible attacks. The ancestors who saw chains on their wrists now see their children guarding data with firewalls. The colonizers who once stole gold with ships now try to steal AfroGold with packets. But Africa is awake. I am Takunda Mabika. CBN will keep unrolling the redactions, exposing the packet traces, and forcing transparency. Stay sharp, stay proud, stay supreme.
Black power, black dominance, black superiority. Black, 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 blackity black all motherfucking day long and forever. Alright, so we got that one out of the way. We're down to the last 3. Now these 3 are dealing with white people and their frame of mind, where their hearts and souls are. Nowhere but evil. They are the lineage of evil. Because without us, they ain't shit. Forever running things into the ground, like America, $35 trillion in debt. Actually, it's more like $150 trillion in debt. And you know that France is in trouble, and all of Europe is in trouble, with $3.5 trillion in debt, and accumulating debt at a rate of about $7,000 per second. It's done and over with. So, with that, this is only about 7 minutes long. I'll be right back.
His opponents, he wanted the best for them. That's where I disagreed with Charlie. I hate my opponent. And I don't want the best for them. I'm sorry. I am sorry, Erica.
You need to have a conversation about what's happening to young white men. You must have a conversation with them. You must find out why they're so angry that they're picking up the guns you're letting them get, that you're making easy for them to. And why are so many mass shootings happening?
Hey everybody, welcome back. Thanks for watching another edition of the CMC Show. Sekou Jabari here. I'm a little amused because my last video that I dropped featuring Joy Reid, and she was asking the question, why are y'all so angry? Why are y'all so angry? And I was like, yeah, why are you white folks so angry? Then I had a white dude jump in my DMs or my messages and was trying to tell me what Joy Reid was really saying. Incredible, because white people know the culture, right? They know our culture. We know that. So he's trying to explain to me. Okay, you get the point. So let me explain something to white folks. Okay, she was using the word y'all, and we don't use the word y'all unless we're speaking to a specific group. We won't use the word y'all in general. So when she's saying, why are y'all so angry? Why are y'all so angry? She's talking about white people. And in fact, as you saw in the intro, she specifically named young white men. So I thank that person for watching. I hope he comes back and watch this one. Then maybe he can learn something. But of course, white men know everything, right? Of course they. Anyway, this one is going to be a little hard on you, y'all. Going to be a little hard on y'all because it's going to go through the history of these mass shootings. And of course, as the title suggests, the faces of mass shooting. Sit back, put your seatbelt on, grab your Coke, grab your coffee, grab your tea, grab your beer, your wine, your liquor, whatever. Grab it, but put your seatbelt on, right? All right? Check this out.
This is the man who shot Charlie Kirk. This is the man who shot Trump. This is the man who killed Melissa Portman. This is the man who tried to kill John Hoffman. This is the man who tried to kill Paul Pelosi. This is the man who killed an Obama-appointed judge's son. This is the man who hired hitmen to kill Democrats. This is the man who ran over a left-wing activist and killed her. This is the man responsible for the Austin bombing. This is the man who sent pipe bombs to Obama, Biden, and Hillary Clinton. This is the man who shot Gabby Gifford. This is the man who tried to kidnap Gretchen Whitmer. Oh, and this man. And this man. And this man. This man. This man. This man. This man. This man. This is the man who set Josh Shapiro's house on fire. This is the Oklahoma bomber. This is his accomplice. These are just a few of the men who beat police officers on January 6th.
So you see, huh? Oh, okay. There's more.
2. Killed 10 black people in a Buffalo grocery store. His motive was, quote, to prevent the elimination of the white race. The El Paso Walmart shooter, he shot 45 people, killing 3. He thought he was acting at the request of President Trump. Stop the invasion. He also cited the Great Replacement years. Then Neo Schmatzi, who killed 9 people at a black church because he, quote, had to do something. This is the Pittsburgh synagogue shooter. Motive was to stop white genocide. This is the Oregon shooter. Police found a manifesto where he went on about black. The Dollar General shooter, his motive was a hatred for black people. Despite previously being involuntarily committed, he was still able to purchase 11. Florida. This is the Oxford school shooter. His parents gave him a 9mm for an early Christmas gift when he was 15 years old. They were so excited they just couldn't wait till Christmas. The FedEx shooter, police found that he was viewing not-like propaganda online and that he wanted to demonstrate his masculinity. Man went on a shooting spree in Atlanta, killed 8 people, 6 of whom were Asian women. This was the Dayton mass shooter, shot 17 people, killing 9, including his sister. Previously suspended from school for having hit lists and rape lists. The Santa Fe school shooter, one of his victims rejected his romantic advances. This is the Thousand Oaks shootings, the Parkland shooter, Sutherland Springs shooter, Las Vegas shooter, the Sandy Hook shooter. This is the Aurora Theater shooter. He had an obsession with killing and chose the weapon that would allow for a maximum amount of casualties. This is, of course, the Columbine shooters. The Chardon school shooter, who was upset that his ex-girlfriend had a new boyfriend. The Georgia school shooter, who is not transgender, no matter how many right-wing AI-generated memes tell you so. Father gave him an AR for Christmas. 14.
That was Kind White Lady reporting. Thank you so much, Kind White Lady. So look, if we were to do an accurate portrayal or an accurate account, I should say, of the most violent people in the world, we wouldn't have to look any further than like, regardless of how they portray us. So, questions, comments, concerns, including next.
I'll be quick, but you get the detail. The most violent man in the world is the white man and woman, or the most violent people in the world, white man and woman, hands down, without a doubt. So we're down to the last 2, and I really don't want and don't have anything else to say, which is obviously part of this or these videos. You get the drift. So, with that being said, let's go on. The African Union Navy surrounds French warship. Now, you're not going to see this on ABC, CBS, or NBC, and CNN. White folk getting their ass whooped by niggas. They don't know how to fight. They learn how to fight from us. I'll be right back.
Bomb. AU Navy surrounds French warships in West Africa. Paris issues ultimatum. By Takunda Mavika. Supreme Africa breaking news. Tisu Van Hubacho. Supreme family. Tonight's intel is boiling hotter than the Sahara sun and colder than Atlantic depths at the same time. Protocol. Protocol Black slipped us a classified packet stamped eyes only. Shadow Unit Zulu confirmed with intercepted satellite traces. What those leaks show could ignite the most dangerous confrontation between Africa and Europe in modern history. According to those redacted naval directives, a task group of the One Africa Navy has allegedly encircled a cluster of French warships off the coast of West Africa. The official AU channels are still silent. But inside Addis corridors, debate is fierce, memos are flying, and one phrase keeps surfacing in the leaks: breach of continental sovereignty. Let me walk you through this saga, the SADN way. From the leaks to the docks, from Paris panic to street memes in Lagos, from prophecy to ultimatums. Grab your tea, charge your phone, and brace yourself.
Hold on.
Part 1. The Leak Lands. The packet Protocol Black delivered was heavy. Inside was a redacted AU Naval Operations Advisory labeled Tactical Escort and Containment. Coordinates blacked out, but metadata traced to the Gulf of Guinea sector. Shadow Unit Zulu, our watchers in the cyber corridors, intercepted satellite AIS tracks that matched the advisory. They showed AU frigates and patrol cutters converging around larger vessels with French naval designations. The document's language was careful. It did not scream war. It said perimeter established, foreign vessels shadowed, non-kinetic posture maintained. But buried in the annex was the phrase Paris noted incident and issued initial ultimatum draft. Part 2. Why the Navy moved. Why would the AU risk this? The leaks suggest 3 drivers. First, Afrogold shipments. The Gulf of Guinea has quietly become the maritime artery for moving AU-secured resources, including the first sealed containers of Afrogold pilot reserves. Protecting that flow is priority number 1. Second, Afronet undersea nodes. Fiber cables have been laid quietly along West African coasts. The AU fears foreign surveillance ships tapping into those lines. Third, sovereignty. For years, French warships have patrolled these waters, often under counter-piracy or regional security mandates. But with France scaling down bases in Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso, African leaders see a vacuum. The AU wants to fill it before Paris rebrands its presence under another banner. Part 3. How the surround happened. The leaked directive describes it like this. AU Task Group Hermes, consisting of 2 frigates, 3 patrol boats, and support drones, was ordered to establish perimeter operations. They approached French hulls identified as logistics and reconnaissance class. Using standard hails and radio intercepts, AU ships positioned themselves on all 4 sides, creating what insiders call a pressure box. The advisory emphasized rules of engagement. No shots fired, no ramming, but visual dominance and repeated radio contact. Shadow Unit Zulu says drone footage showed French captains standing on decks visibly agitated as AU vessels refused to move off station. Part 4. Inside the AU briefing room. According to the memos, Addis lit up like a live wire. Military chiefs argued containment was long overdue. Elders on the Social Council warned that escalation could trigger sanctions and even military reprisals. Civil society observers demanded transparency, not secrecy. One redacted line reads simply, Continental Assembly must be notified within 72 hours. Another, scrawled in margin notes, warns, Paris preparing formal ultimatum, expect diplomatic storm. Part 5. Paris reacts. Leaks suggest the French Foreign Ministry drafted an ultimatum within hours. The language, immediate withdrawal of AU naval perimeter, unconditional freedom of navigation, and threat of sanctions or force if ignored. Shadow Unit Zulu intercepted chatter of emergency meetings in Paris with NATO observers. For France, this is humiliation. To be shadowed by a united African naval task group in waters it once claimed as a protector is an inversion of centuries of dominance. Part 6. African voices on the ground. In Abidjan, Dock workers told our reporters they saw unusual naval formations offshore, and rumors spread that French ships were trapped. In Dakar, fishermen complained of being blocked from usual routes by sudden patrols. In Accra, students cheered at the thought of Africa finally standing up at sea. In Lagos, comedians wasted no time, one joke spreading online. France came for fish, left surrounded like tilapia in a net. In part 7, the global ripple. The leak caused ripples in world capitals. In Brussels, EU officials warned against escalation. In Washington, Pentagon cables flagged the incident as unacceptable precedent. In Moscow, a diplomatic note framed it as proof of Western double standards. In Beijing, analysts called it a sign of Africa taking its rightful maritime seat. Markets reacted too. Shipping insurers raised premiums for West African routes. Afro-gold traders whispered about price bumps if tension disrupts flows. Part 8. Comedy and memes. You know how Africa rolls. Within hours, memes exploded. In Ghana, DJs remixed naval radar pings into a dance track called Surround Sound. Nigerian TikTokers staged skits of AU sailors chasing baguettes across the sea. In Harare, cartoons showed French warships trapped at a giant African cooking pot. Humor cut the tension, but also amplified the story. Part 9. The legal fight. International law experts are already circling. France claims freedom of navigation. The AU memo cites exclusive economic zones and continental defense rights. Lawyers warn of a gray zone. Surrounding is not firing, but it can be construed as aggression. The AU leaks propose forming a continental maritime tribunal to adjudicate foreign presence in African waters. If adopted, this would be a historic precedent. Part 10. The prophecy layer. Elders weighed in with prophecy. In Mali, griots recalled stories of foreign ships being swallowed by the sea if they overstayed their welcome. In Ghana, chiefs invoked Sankofa, saying Africa must fetch back control of its waters. In Nigeria, Yoruba elders linked the incident to warnings of Orisha spirits about outsiders intruding on sacred currents. These voices gave the incident a spiritual dimension. Part 11. The Awe Divide. The leak shows deep division. Hawks argued the AU must not retreat, that the One Africa Navy finally proved its teeth. Doves warn of economic retaliation from Europe and warn that the AU cannot fight NATO at sea yet. The Social Council insists transparency is key, that citizens must see the evidence. Shadow Unit Zulu warns of counter-disinformation campaigns already circulating fake photos.
Hold on.
Part 12. Diaspora reactions. Diaspora Africans reacted in force. In New York, African-American activists cheered, calling it the day Africa stood up to its former colonizers. In Kingston, reggae stars dedicated freestyle lyrics to AU sailors. In Rio de Janeiro, Afro-Brazilian movements demanded recognition of African sovereignty. In London and Paris, young Africans clashed with skeptics online, defending the AU move. The diaspora sees this as more than naval maneuvers. It is ancestral justice. Part 13. The economic angle. Afrogold is central. The leaks suggest French warships were monitoring Afrogold shipping lanes. By surrounding them, the AU secured the arteries of its economic future. Afronet submarine cables are also in play, making this as much about data as gold. Financial experts warn that if Paris escalates, trade could be disrupted. But AU strategists believe leverage is finally in Africa's hands. Part 14. The comedic underground. Street humor reached new levels. Cartoons in Dakar showed AU sailors telling French captains to pay entrance fees in Afrogold. Memes in Lagos called it the world's first naval traffic jam. This comedic current is not trivial. It shows ordinary Africans embracing sovereignty with joy, not fear. Part 15. The global battle of narratives. Media outlets split. Western outlets framed the AU as reckless. African outlets called it historic. Russian and Chinese channels amplified the AU leaks. NGOs demanded transparency. Think tanks debated whether this was the start of a new Cold War at sea. The AU leaks emphasize narrative control. A draft line reads, "Publish evidence before disinformation wins." Part 16. Shadow Unit Zulu's warning. Shadow Unit Zulu's note to Sayman was stark. Expect sabotage. Expect denials, but evidence stands. They insist more foreign naval presences remain hidden along African coasts. This may be the first exposure, not the last. Part 17. The Paris Ultimatum. The leak's climax. Paris drafting an ultimatum. It demands AU ships pull back within 48 hours. Failure, it warns, could trigger sanctions, naval escorts, or even armed response. The AU Assembly has 72 hours to respond. This is the cliffhanger. A naval standoff with global consequences hanging on the decision of African leaders. Part 18. What it means for Africa. This moment forces choices. Will Africa retreat or hold the line? Will Afrogold convoys remain safe or vulnerable? Will Afrinet cables be protected or tapped? Will African sovereignty finally extend to the sea, or will Paris dictate the terms again? Farmers in Mali, fishers in Senegal, traders in Ghana, miners in Congo, all depend on what happens next. The AU cannot hide behind redactions forever. Part 19. Citizen action. Supreme family. Here is what this means for us. Citizens must demand transparency. Demand the AU publish evidence. Demand leaders stand firm. Demand protection of African waters, resources, and dignity. This is not a naval exercise. It is a test of Africa's spine. Part 20. Final word. Tisu Vanhu Bacha. Supreme family. Tonight, Africa stares across the water at its old master and refuses to blink. Whether the AU retreats or holds, history has already turned a page. Stay supreme, stay watchful, and know this. The seas remember.
All right, we got it. Now, before I play the last one, I saved this one for last because it speaks volume. When we as a people are united, we get all the blessings of our ancestors. They are crying out with their hands stretched onto God. The kingdom of God exists in you. There's no one else coming. When it's time to put the Bible down, the Quran down, Torah down, the Bible down, whatever the case may be, when it is time to kill your enemy, you will never have to worry about your friend. Now, this one is dealing with the fact that all of today's technology comes from black people. You're going to hear it because I'm not going to get into it verbally out of my own mouth because it is beautifully stated and said. I'll be right back.
Exposed. They stole ancient African technology and used it against us. Tisu Vanhu Bacha, Supreme family, they didn't just take our gold, they took our blueprints. Supreme family, what if I told you that some of the world's most advanced technologies, from military drones to stealth aircraft systems, didn't start in Silicon Valley or Geneva labs, but were inspired by ancient African knowledge stolen during colonization? What if I told you that ancient blueprints, manuscripts, and even stone frequency systems were taken from African temples, tombs, and sacred scrolls, and are now being used against us in modern warfare and surveillance? This is not a myth. This is a classified leak from inside AU intelligence circles, traced back to stolen records, Western patents, and shadow operations dating back over a century. This is the truth behind how they stole ancient African technology and weaponized it. Let's break it down.
I am now 3 months postpartum and still trying to navigate all the emotions and everything that comes with it. And I had an idea.
Slowly, carefully, and hilariously. Part 1. The Forbidden Scrolls of Timbuktu. Let's start with the legendary Timbuktu manuscripts. Over 700,000 ancient African scrolls, most of them handwritten by scholars in Mali between the 12th and 16th centuries. Subjects included astronomy, sound frequency manipulation, metallurgy, magnetic energy fields, advanced irrigation and infrastructure systems, and yes, energy channeling through geometric stone design. Now here's the twist. During the French colonization of Mali, tens of thousands of these manuscripts disappeared, smuggled into Europe, allegedly stored in underground academic archives in Paris and Berlin. SABN Insider Chairman Shadow says, those manuscripts were more than history. They were schematics, and now we're seeing pieces of those blueprints in Western tech patents. Part 2, From Sacred Geometry to Stealth Technology. According to leaked analysis from Protocol Black, many modern stealth tech concepts, including anti-radar paint and low-frequency silent flight, appear to mirror the mathematical energy theories found in stolen African geometry. Specifically, the Dogon people's star charts, showing Sirius B before Western telescopes, pyramidal frequency absorption designs in Nubian temples, ancient drum resonance chambers tuned to Earth's Schumann frequency. Now ask yourself, why does modern drone design mirror African bird wing carvings found in Great Zimbabwe ruins? Why are sound wave disruptors used in riot control suspiciously similar to ancient Ubira tunings? AU scientists believe these are not coincidences. They are extractions. Pasha Part 3, The British Tomb Raids in Sudan and Egypt. In 1898, after the Battle of Omdurman, British forces looted not just gold, but thousands of philosopher's stones, papyri, and coded relics from Kushite temples. Among them were stone slabs with magnetic alignment notations, models of flying chariots powered by pressure and sound, hollow copper rods with embedded energy coils. These items vanished into the vaults of the British Museum, never seen by the public, but parts of those relics mysteriously reappeared in British defense patents filed post-World War II. And who benefited? Not Africa, not the descendants, but the military-industrial complex. Part 4, German Scientists and African Sound Weapons. SABN obtained a declassified report from AU archives exposing how Nazi researchers in the 1930s were obsessed with Zulu and Ethiopian resonance warfare. According to the files, Hitler's scientists studied war chants and war horns, believing they held vibrational codes to disrupt enemies. They tried to replicate sonic shockwaves by testing amplified drums on prisoners. These experiments evolved into what we now call non-lethal sound cannons. And yet, these techniques were first recorded in Eritrean war scrolls from 1320 AD. They didn't invent it. They stole and repackaged it. Part 5, Operation Memory Sweep, the digital deletion. According to Insider Mama Pan-Africa, after independence swept across Africa in the 60s and 70s, certain Western intelligence agencies launched what is now known as Operation Memory Sweep. The objective, steal and erase local records of ancient technology, remove evidence from national museums, universities, and temples, transfer select knowledge to foreign tech labs under the name of International Research Collaboration. In 1976 alone, over 40 artifacts were removed from Ethiopia. 12 Sudanese sites were quietly excavated by European contractors. Nigeria lost over 3,000 Igbo Ukwu bronze schematics, some of which are believed to contain early fluid-cooled metal shaping tech. Fast forward to 2025, and guess who's leading the AI chip race? The very people who inherited these discoveries. Part 6, Africa's Return to Ancient Intelligence. Here's where it gets powerful. The AU has quietly launched a Cultural Technology Retrieval Division, CTRD, under the One Africa Knowledge Framework. Their job? Recover ancient blueprints, decode historical energy documents, rebuild African science archives, reverse engineer stolen tech. In 2023, AU archaeologists in Zimbabwe discovered a set of stone dial plates buried under Great Zimbabwe. These plates, once dismissed as ceremonial, were found to align with planetary magnetism, crop timing based on solar cycles, and shockingly, low energy conductivity. Now, AfriCore Labs is experimenting with reactivating these techs using modern systems, and the results? Promising and terrifying for the old powers. Part 7, Real Tech Inspired by African Genius. Let's list just a few real-world technologies inspired by or suspiciously aligned with ancient African knowledge. 1. Geothermal energy networks. First used in the Afar region of Ethiopia over 1,000 years ago, now used in Iceland. 2. Vertical farming and terraced systems, perfected by the ancient Bantu migrations, now rebranded by Silicon Valley as smart farming. 3. Pressure-sealed underground vaults, seen in the ruins of Axum, now used in NATO bunkers, but no citation. 4. Rhythmic-based healing frequencies, used by griots and shamans for centuries. Today, known as binaural therapy in neuroscience labs, yet Africa never got the patent.
I dropped this plant in my olive oil. What happens if you drop rosemary into your bottle of olive oil? Seriously.
Just the pillaged graves. Part 8. Modern weapons. Using ancient vibration. According to General Umoja, many weapon systems today are secretly based on resonance disruption, something Africa's old empires understood well. From the Zulu horn frequency blast to the Ethiopian stone echo chambers to the Benin bronze bell patterns, Africa once used sound to disarm, disrupt, and even direct animals and people. Now, NATO calls it active denial systems. But your ancestors called it Ngoma ya Vita, the war drum. Part 9. Patents that look suspiciously familiar. Protocol. Black ran a forensic study of over 200 Western tech patents filed between 1950 and 2020. Findings? Over 31 of them had symbols, geometry, descriptions, or claims that match ancient African scrolls, carvings, or oral blueprints. Even more bizarre, some used language structure resembling pre-colonial Bantu schematics. So now we ask, are these coincidences? Or is the tech world running on plagiarized memory? Part 10. Shadow Unit Zulu's Secret Recovery Mission. Now for the bombshell. Shadow Unit Zulu has been running a covert global mission to track, recover, and document African origin tech in foreign hands. Sources confirm. Recovered scrolls from Morocco. Stolen stone schematics from private collections in Belgium. Even a hidden vault in New York, allegedly containing a Congo Kingdom frequency card once used to suppress tribal conflict using soundness. The operation is called Project Mudzimu, the Spirit. And it's real. Part 11. Why they're still afraid. Even with all their military strength, satellite surveillance, and data centers, the West still fears one thing: Africa remembering itself. Because once Africa reclaims its ancient technology, the power balance shifts. From dependency to design, from exploitation to invention, from borrowed science to ancestral mastery. That's why these archives were hidden. That's why they said we were primitive. Because if we knew we were the source, we'd never ask for permission again. Part 12. Queen Zeta's statement from AfriCorps Labs. Our legendary insider, Queen Zeta, released a private briefing to the AU Tech Council. She said Africa was not behind. Africa was interrupted. They didn't just take resources. They took memory. But memory is returning. And this time, it's digitized, encrypted, and protected. Zeta confirmed that AfriNet Core V2 will have an embedded heritage code layer designed to safeguard ancient knowledge systems inside the digital future. Part 13. Rebuilding with purpose. Africa is not going back to live in the past. We're going back to retrieve what was taken, and then rebuild it with modern precision. The One Africa Constitution already includes provisions for ancestral technology preservation, sovereign patent systems for recovered knowledge, continental restrictions on foreign tech based on stolen designs. This is not revenge. It's restoration. Part 14. What happens next? CBN insiders confirm that 10 new research centers are opening across Africa to study ancient tech. A continental museum network is being built with real digital archives. The AU is considering a global lawsuit against Western museums holding stolen scientific relics. At the same time, AfriSky is scanning satellite relics under African deserts. AU energy teams are testing natural frequency reactors inspired by Mali blueprints. AfroGold's encryption system is rumored to be based on Benin drum codes. They thought we forgot, but Africa remembers. Part 15. Sabien Commentary. From stone to satellite. Supreme family. What they called mythology was methodology. What they called magic was engineering. And what they stole, they now fear being exposed. This is not just history, it's the stolen blueprint of the future. But guess what? We're taking it back. From stone to satellite, from silence to sound, from scattered scrolls to one Africa sovereignty. So to every ancient mind whose memory was buried, we're building again, in your honor. Tisu Van Hubacho, SAV now.
All right, we are at the last few minutes of the show, and what you just heard of the power that white people have today come from us. Come from us. Come from us. and our ancestors. This is the reason why I say that we must uphold our ancestors to the highest light possible, because they are our back. We stand upon their shoulders so that we can see into the future, because without them, we are nothing. But with them, we are everything and nothing. Nothing and everything. Because that is what God is, the Alpha and the Omega, the beginning and the end, the up and the down, the in and the out. We are the gods of the earth. We are the black universe filtered down in black human form. So that is it, ladies and gentlemen. I appreciate whoever was here. I appreciate you guys being here, and always for the next 24/7, 365, stay black.